Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of PitchUs. Super excited today to have Jeff Erickson with us and Sam Palazzolo, and then our entrepreneur today is Randy Covington. My name's Tim Cooley. I am the author of the Pitch Deck book. Jeff, please introduce yourself.
Jeff Erickson, Tim's co-host here on the PitchUs podcast. Excited to be here and meet Sam, our celebrity guest, and also hear from Randy. A little bit about me. I am a former founder, sold a company to a private equity group after running it for about 10 years, and now work for a company called Forecaster, which is a little startup that is raising a Series A investment. So also an active angel investor and love working with lots of founders. So Sam, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff, Tim, for having me today. It's Sam Palazzolo, Managing Director at Tip of the Spear Ventures. That's a venture firm that I founded 10 years ago. So we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary after I achieved a private equity exit from the tech startup I helped lead. So we have two sides of the house. I was telling Jeff and Tim that prior to the venture world, I was a Deloitte guy and an Aon change management consultant. And so traveled for a living. We still have half of our firm act as a consultation firm. The other half is venture-based. So excited to be with you today.
Awesome, Sam. So glad to have you here and to providing feedback to Randy. Randy, why don't you share your screen and pitch us?
Okay. Can you guys see my screen? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so my name is Randy Covington. I'm the founder of Katanga Arms. Katanga Arms is a DIY kit-based weapons company. We provide the valuable opportunity to build, to learn about, and connect with unique, innovative weapons. Unlike big box brands, that you go to the store and you purchase a weapon that's already fully complete. We provide the experience to actually, connect with your weapon, and in general provide an experience that even the most seasoned of weapons enthusiasts have likely not experienced. What started this company started about 10 years ago. I came across a YouTube video of a guy building a slam fire shotgun, which is basically just a small pipe that goes inside of a bigger pipe with a shotgun shell inside of there, and it kind of shoots it off. I was pretty amazed by this, the fact that shotgun was so easily able to be built. So at the time, I wanted to build one, but I wanted to be able to aim with it. I feel like that's kind of important. So I took it a step further, and I built my first one. I need to move this slide deck. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. So I took it a step further, and I built the first one that actually had a trigger and a hammer. And from that point on, I just fell in love with building these shotguns. It blew my mind, really, that you could build something as useful as a shotgun. To me, that was something that was relegated to, the giant manufacturing plants, the big corporations. They were the only ones that had the technology to do something like that. That may sound silly, but that's how it felt. And to be able to do that and build a shotgun was just, it was amazing sense of independence, accomplishment. And so more recently, I started studying entrepreneurship and decided to start a company. I looked to what do I like doing, and what do I have a passion for, and it was pretty quick for me to realize it's shotguns. So let me jump into some of the market opportunity here. Obviously, we have the fear of losing our Second Amendment. That's all over the news. Happens what seems to be monthly. People are worried about that. Survival private market. There's statistics here as well. And the firearms industry as a whole. But there's a couple of weapons trends that I seek to capitalize on. Number one is the obscure and niche firearms trend. Number two is customization will be king. And then there's the psychological benefits that I kind of touched on earlier, as far as actually using your hands to build something. So overall, I'm looking to combine the love of weapons with the love of building things, which some are aware of and some are not aware of. But once they get a taste for it, I think they will love it. Value proposition is, that fear of losing our Second Amendment. Our product basically teaches you how a basic weapon works, how to build a basic weapon, how to take care of it, how to troubleshoot it. We offer the kits and the survival tool, and then it's a firearm. So there's that. And then as far as those two weapon trends, it's definitely an obscure and niche focused company. At least that's how it's going to start out. And then Katanga Arms product, they're designed to be easily customized, which capitalizes on that second trend that I spoke of before. And then the benefits of building, like it says here, it takes a lot of work to build these weapons, which helps to create that sense of accomplishment and independence. Total addressable market. This is just an equation I found to give you a decently accurate estimation as far as what your addressable market is. And with one product, which is the Katanga Scout, that we're ready to start pre-sales next month, possible 29 million is what we're looking at if we are able to capitalize on that 99,000, and that's countrywide. Traction. So I sold 10 kits in 2022. I had a meeting with Impact Guns. They expressed interest in stocking their shelves, their products, and then many people on our Facebook page as well as our YouTube channel are expressing a lot of interest. A lot of people are waiting to make those pre-sales orders. Strategy is going to begin selling direct to consumer, and then use word of mouth. Direct customers to our website through social media, and then use word of mouth through those innovators, word of mouth, and then go to trade shows. Eventually, we'll get into wholesale, and then work to create relationships. For example, we have recently paired with Gents Knives, so our product will feature their survival knives. So we'll do more relationships like that, possibly Black Rifle Coffee, stuff like that. Competition is mainly just existing brands. Nothing too similar to what we're offering. Here at the top, the Papa 410 DIY survival shotgun. That's the most similar product on the market, and that actually is one of those slam fire shotguns. No trigger, no safety, no way to really aim, but it is a DIY, a kit-based shotgun. Strategy is going to be history of weapons to provide that free value as far as social media goes, and then all the ways that our products can be customized, and then expressing the cornerstones of Katanga Arms as far as its mission and its values, and then the benefits of becoming a Katanga Arms customer. We have an obvious market, that's going to be the firearms enthusiast. But from my experience, my first two sales were actually in a gun store while I was getting customer feedback. It was a lady. She ordered 2 kits right there on the spot, and I did not expect that. So I think we'll be able to tap into some markets, mainly the hobbyist and the DIY enthusiast, just for the fact that it's a challenge to actually build it, and it's different. Future, as far as products go, in addition to the product we have now, which is the Katanga Scout, there are currently 2 other products that are being developed. One's a revolver shotgun with a hatchet and a fishing pole attachment, and then a repeating crossbow. And then as far as future goes with Katanga Arms, I may get my FFL and sell completed firearms, but as far as the direction those firearms will take, it will most definitely focus on innovation and providing something new. And then exit is I will either run Katanga Arms indefinitely or sell it if the right opportunity arises. And I'm asking for $25,000. I need this money to help with the pre-sales launch next month, and then help our full-scale launch this May. I need to get tools, help with advertising, securing those B2B relationships, and then materials. And then here's a video of the Katanga Scout if we have time. Let's see.
Let's skip the video for now.
Okay. All right, and then just a few pictures of the Katanga Scout here.
Awesome, Randy. Thanks so much for sharing what you're doing. So here's what we'd like to do. I mean, I have a ton of questions, but I want to get into things that we really liked about what you're doing. And to start that off, Sam, will you please lead us off?
Yeah, the things that I liked was, first and foremost, Randy, great confidence heading into this. I think your subject matter expertise is different from most of the tech entrepreneurs that we have approach us, but you seem to have a really good solid foundation for what it is that you're building, which I would expect you to have. But great confidence in the presentation. I think there's also a really nice logical flow to the information that you present. So I used to be a college professor as well, and one of the things that we often saw in presentations was that there really just wasn't a good flow. But even in a pitch, that's even more crucial to have good flow of where it is that you're at, where you're going, those types of things. Those are all the things off the top of my head. I've got a lot of questions too, though.
Jeff, you're up.
Yeah, Randy, very cool product. And I liked your passion about it. I mean, you could tell that
Thank you. I appreciate
this
that.
was something that you're super engaged in, and something you're passionate about. I will say, I think on your presentation, some of that passion can come out better in your voice, but we can kind of get to some of those things. With that said, I agree that the flow was there. You had a lot of the right, slides and everything. I think there's some things we can do to help you craft it a little bit better, and maybe some feedback in terms of how you can make it so we're not just reading through it the whole time. But we'll get into some of that here as we go. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, so I'm just going to echo with it. I have a lot of feedback. So I want to say I actually like where you're at from a deck point of view. This is actually where most entrepreneurs start. And I will say, this is what I would call version super, super, super one. So great job on putting that together. I actually really like the product for what it is. And so I think that's really interesting. And so what I think we can do is going into that feedback is really help you from a pitch point of view. And that's really what this is all about, is how do you present this better to investors? And let's start with that. Sam, why don't you kick it off for us?
Yeah, so you mentioned that this is kind of a 1.0 presentation. And, we're big fans of the Harvard School. Devereaux wrote the book on how to give a powerful presentation. And I think that a few more pictures dispersed throughout. I'm not certain what the background, the relevancy is to what it is that you're offering. But I'd ditch the background, see if you can't get a couple more pictures put throughout it. That's the first comment that I had. There also were just some simple proofing of some of the words. I caught a couple of typos throughout the presentation, and those are the things that when you're presenting to the finance crowd, they're looking for any excuse to exit. So if you can't give them any excuses, they'll probably stick around to the end. I have a couple more. Do you want me to hold off though, and let me turn it over? I was going to say I would say that there was another thing when you were doing the math of the total addressable market, this TAM, SAM, SOM, right? This is where you're going with it. I wondered, and I'm an accountant by training, so I wondered if the math that you were putting together for the total financial opportunity, was that the total addressable market or the serviceable obtainable market? I was a little confused on it. One of the things that we do with our entrepreneurs that work with us is we put all of that information on one slide. Let's do TAM, SAM, SOM. Let's put it all into one. And that way we can kind of break it down from this is what we see as the entire market. If we drill down a little bit more, we ultimately get down to this is what we think our piece of the pie can be of it. So But let me pull up there because that's probably a lot for right now, and I know you all have some good things to share as well. Does that make sense, though, Randy? Any questions about any of that?
Okay.
TAM, SAM, SOM is the three acronyms, and the TAM moment is the
No, that makes sense.
total
You said
addressable market
TAM, SOM,
or
and
total
what was the
available
third
market.
acronym?
The SAM is the serviceable addressable market,
Okay.
and then the SOM is serviceable obtainable market. So again, concentric circles all boiling down to this is what we think the entire market can be, all the way down to this is what we really think that we can get traction and we can own this space. That's something that traditionally, even in version 1.0, we never see anybody hit one of those three, let alone all three. So you got one of them. I think maybe you had two.
All right, Jeff, some
Yeah.
feedback.
So Randy, like I said, one of the things is this is something that you're super knowledgeable about and passionate about. I think in your presentation, that's something that you can work on. It's kind of monotone as you're kind of reading through the slides and everything. And so I think one thing is to practice at the intonation of your presentation. And I think the more you practice it, the better it flows. And the other thing about that is that there were a ton of words on every slide. And so that's one thing that I think you're going to want to address there is, when you've got your slide deck there, it's really tempting to just read the words and it makes it feel like it's just kind of a school report. It's like, all right, I was asked to do this and here's my report on this. So you want to show some pictures, like Sam was saying, show some photos of your cool gun that you've built and get excited about it and say, check this one out. Um, and then talk about the differences of your gun versus other ones that are in the market and why people love what you've built here. So some of that I think will help with your presentation, help you get excited about it, where you're not just reading text off of a slide. So some of those pictures would be helpful. Um, and that will also help with, like on your competition slide, you can show guns, examples of other, guns that are competing. And it gives you an opportunity to talk about how yours is different. Maybe it costs less. Maybe it's got better functionality. But we didn't get anything out of that on just the text that you had on that slide. The other thing I'll mention about, having text and most slides just had straight text on them. And what you can do there, and Tim, are you hearing the echo
Is
there? Okay. Anyways, I'll make it short, but I think one of the things that you can um, do as you get into getting rid of the text and putting more pictures in is then you're going to be able to talk to each slide. Um, as somebody that you're presenting to, as you're talking through this and reading through each slide, I'm trying to follow you and read through it as well. And there were a couple slides where you just skipped through them real quick, and I was like trying to read the text, and so it gets really distracting. So I think the more that you can do with icons or photos and then just talk to it is going to help you on the whole presentation slide. One other thing that I wanted to mention was you talked a little bit about your marketing strategy. Um, you kind of had this section where it said marketing strategy, and then it just said we're going to have photos, words and videos that illustrate the history of this. That's really not a strategy. I think as you get into your marketing strategy, you're going to want to say, okay, we're going to spend this much money on ads, and here's what we've seen results from paid advertising. Here's how we're going to sell into this market, and here's the results we've seen from here, and then that goes into how do you actually make money here? I didn't get anything out of the presentation about your margins. For all I know, you're selling the guns for $300 and they cost you $400 to make. I mean, I don't think that we got into any of that, but I want to know if you're selling these for $1,000, then and people are buying them, that you're making $500 off of every gun. And so right now you've sold 10, from what I gathered. So, I want to know how many can you actually produce over the next 5 months or 6 months or 9 months, and how much money is that going to end up equating? Because if I give you a check for $25,000, I don't know if I'm ever going to get it back. So, and I didn't hear any of that addressed in the presentation. So those are a couple of things that you could probably work on.
Yeah, it's a great point, Jeff. Let me chime in because what was missing was the famous hockey stick graph, right? Years down the road, this thing's going to explode. And it'll also give you, Randy, something to talk to from an exit strategy perspective, right? We're going to build this company up. We're either going to hold it. We're going to go IPO. We're going to do something exciting. We're going to look for an M&A, perhaps with one of the existing manufacturers of shotguns. There's all kinds of things, but no, it's a great catch, Jeff.
Yeah, so I kind of want to just go through this systematically and just briefly go through the touch points that have been mentioned so far, starting from the very beginning. So, like I said, congratulations on building Deck One. It's hard enough just to get here. There's so many resources out there. I will say, read my book, the Pitch Deck book, on our website. On I think it's PitchUs.io. There's a pitch deck template. I highly recommend looking at that and then follow along the book. It's really a step-by-step guide on how to fill these things out. So the first thing that we would love to see is the problem statement. I think with what you have, there's maybe not a problem, but there's a really unique market opportunity, which is this gun collection market. And this is a thing, and you're building the coolest thing in the gun collection market. It also fits some of these other things too. There are problems like how does gun work, gun education, those things aren't very true. But I think you need to start us off with who you are, why you did this. Like, it is good enough to say that you saw this video of this guy doing this thing and you wanted to do something safer, right? That's a better way of doing it. Or use the skills that you had. Like, root us into you and then the problem that you're kind of trying to solve, right? Then, and you can use visuals to that. Visuals are going to be really key for what you're doing. You can cut out about 80% of words and replace those with pictures. Then show us the product itself. You do have a video. It's really neat to watch. But like there's some things there that I think are missing, like the stocks around the handles. Like what are you doing for those from a product point of view, right? I think you have a core, and then you can sell accessories, right? And I know that's probably going to come in the future, but that's what I want to see is like you have a full solution, and they can do it themselves, right? Like what if I want to build a gun, but I don't have a wood shop? Then I have this piece of metal, right? So I want to see a full solution right there. Then get back into the finances, right? How much does it cost you to make? And then go into that forecast. We want to see you're sold 3 this month, then 7, then 190 million, like whatever that looks like over time. We want to see that. And then I want to reiterate what Sam said is the SOM, SAM, and TAM. Do a bottom-up approach. So you're going into this kind of collector market. You're going to get us really excited about that, and you're going to say our gun costs 300. There's about of the 80 million people who own guns, this percentage is of who we're really targeting, and then you can just do a math. It's a bottom-up approach. If you need help with that, great tools like Forecaster are out there, right? Go back to pictures, right, for a competition slide. Right? Show us that other gun. Show us what else is out there in this DIY space. You can even show knives in this case because you're just trying to prove that there's a market out there for what you're doing. And then you want to bring it home. Who's on your team, right? Is it just you today? You mentioned in your slide, and this is often, and this is for our audience as a whole, if you're going to continue to build the business on your own, then raising money from debt is the right way to go. Raising money from a venture point of view is not the right way to go. We want to see you wanting to grow this thing, find an acquirer, and make us all millions and millions of dollars, right? Just something to keep in mind, and that there's nothing wrong with that. I still think you need a deck for that. I think it's good practice. But keep that in mind if I'm trying to invest in you. And I will say this, you're looking for $25,000. You can't feed yourself on $25,000. We know this. So it's more reasonable to raise 250 so that you can pay yourself a full salary, run this business full time, do all the things correctly. So make sure that financial projections and your financial needs are being met in this first capital raise. Obviously, you're really early, and that's great, but you got to take care of you in the business. That's very, very important. And we do see, and Jeff, you see this all the time, Sam, being an accountant as well, like a lot of founders don't raise enough money early, and basically they might as well shut the business down. So you got to really understand how much you need to hit milestones, which we didn't see in the presentation either. So what we would love to see is like bring in those, like your market strategy, but change that. I want to see milestones. We're going to get version 1 or version 2 up and running. We're going to bring on these accessories, and then we're going to be hitting up 50 gun shows over the next 12 months. So $300,000 makes complete sense to do those things. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's the full recap. I just wanted to kind of go from the beginning to the end. Great job on having a first one. And now it's going to come down to the question that if you're going to present to a group of investors, usually very few know who you are. And so the question is, based off of what we heard today, Sam, would you move this company onto due diligence?
No, we wouldn't.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like Tim said, this is kind of stage 1 of your pitch deck. I think it's a good, basic template to kind of move to that next level. But some of the things that Tim mentioned about, presenting this in a way that helps me understand how I can get my money back and what it's going to be used for, and giving me more confidence would probably have to be in there before I would move it to due diligence.
Yep, and I'm going to agree. I like the product enough to want to follow you. Like we're friends on LinkedIn now. Like I'm interested to see where you go. If you have a TikTok, I'll follow you. I'm interested in the product, but from a business point of view, today I would have to pass on due diligence. And what I would say, and Jeff and Sam, you probably can add to this, we want to see you in 6 months because you're going to figure out a bunch of the things that you don't have today. And then maybe up to a year. And this is for our audience too. If you're going out and raising capital, make sure you're following up with those angel and VC groups more than just that one and done. Come back 6, 12 months later and then represent, because you should be way further along. And I would say probably 60 to 70% of the companies that I've invested in or seen invested in, it's not their first time reaching out to me, right? It's that follow on that they kept doing. So with that, so I want to say stick with it. And if you guys need help out there with either your financials, check out Forecaster. There's a link in the description. Please check out the pitch deck book. It really does give you a great foundation to start from. And Sam, I really want to thank you for being our guest today, and Randy for presenting. And with that, we'll see you all next time.